Hi, welcome to another episode of Monday Matters, where I offer additional insights and I invite you to try on an experiment with some practical applications, all based on my church's Sunday sermon. This week, I want to highlight three ideas from the thought, you are free now. Now, one is that we may be shaped by our past, but we're not bound to them. Next is that the time to talk about restoration is when you're going through something, right? So you want to speak health when you don't feel well, and speak wealth when you're seeing insufficient funds in your bank account. The third one is that you can move forward in spite of your current circumstances. Now, I know you guys are smart. You understand all of this in your head. But what does it actually look like? Well, it's really a much larger or longer teaching than I have time for in these little segments, but let's start here. Now, we all have patterns of thought that shape and ultimately create our experiences. And what, we call them our reality, right? But if you've been influenced by your past not to trust people, then you may be guarded in your relationships. Or maybe you didn't grow up with a lot of money as a kid. And your mom, in an effort to make you feel better, said, but we have a lot of love. And in your little mind, you decided love is better than money. So now you find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, because what you think about a thing affects how you feel about that thing. And however you feel about that thing determines what decisions you're going to make and what actions you're going to take regarding that thing, which in turn concretizes into your now experiences. Now, if there be any that you don't like, I got good news for you. You have dominion over your own thoughts. You don't get not to think, but you absolutely can choose which thoughts you're going to pay attention to, which thoughts you're going to engage with, and which thoughts you're going to entertain. Which leads me to the second idea of thinking one way when you're seeing something else. Now, the bottom line is you must cause yourself to do it. Now, I teach a very easy process for this, which is very effective for all of my clients. And I may not have time to teach the whole thing here, but when you learn this lifelong skill, you'll be able to move forward, not in spite of your conditions or your circumstances, but regardless of any circumstance, situation, or condition. Now, part of that process involves creating a vision for your life that you're in love with, and coming from the vibration of that as much as possible, as often as possible. Listen, if your thoughts determine the life that you have, let's think new thoughts and have a life we'd love instead. Make sense? Of course it does. So you may have been able to change your thoughts before, or you change your conversation, change a habit, but it didn't stick. You didn't keep it up. Why? Well, Pastor also mentioned this thing called a gravitational pull. Now, what is that? Well, if you think of a rocket and it takes off from the earth, and when it gets to a certain spot in space, the gravitational pull of the earth will begin to force it back down. That's why they have that booster attached to it, right? And then when it gets to that point, it shoots it off. Yeah. Well, that's the same thing that happens to us. You say you're going to eat right. You're going to exercise more. Maybe you're going to start doing some meditations. Well, if you even start, you do all right for a while, and then one day something happens, something gets in the way, right? You get distracted, you stop paying attention, or. Next thing you know, vroom, back down to the familiar you go. So there's so much more that I would just really love to share with you. But again, I want to keep these short. So I want to leave you with this. In order to change a pattern of thought, you must replace it, right? We have to stop nursing and rehearsing what we don't want and start focusing on what we do want. Now, there's also a scripture that speaks about, or in the same scripture, it talks about God's law, right? And so one of God's laws that comes to mind is you reap what you sow. If you sow watermelon seeds, you're going to reap watermelons. So don't be mad at God when you don't see any flowers in your garden. You get what I mean? So this week, notice what seeds you're sowing. And if they're not the ones you want, replace them, right? And if you would love some help with that, hey, or maybe you would love to create a vision for yourself, just let me know. I love helping people find that spark. So I hope this was helpful. As always, feel free to ask for more help or further clarification. Share your thoughts in the comment section, right? Most importantly, I invite you to try on this experiment for yourself this week and let me know how you make out. Because remember, it's not enough to just agree with the Sunday sermon. It's what you do on Monday that matters. I love y'all. Bye.